Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's loading. It's loading. It's loading. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, yeah. 3 people watching, 17 watching. What's up, everybody? It's Monday, and it feels like Tuesday. In the night, if I was on stage and we set up the sound, it'd be like a weird musical of sounds. Huh. What's up, everybody? It's Monday, and it feels like Monday, and I'm glad that it's Monday because we're coming in hot and fresh. Coming in hot and fresh like some flapjacks right off the grill. We love it. You love it. I love it. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be here. I hope you're all here because you're glad to be here, not because you're unglad to be here. We like it when you're glad to be here, not when you're unglad. I don't know what unglad means, but we're just going to run with it. Who was first today? Sopa Loco E55. Still love that. Rocky's Rocky and Will's Aquarium, 1, 2, and 3. Nathaniel M, Licks Nibbles, Classical Aquatics, Pete Berlinski, It's Nature Man, Big D Smoke, River 81 £, or hashtag. Is that a hashtag or a £? Alyssa Bentley is here to help moderate, along with Candy Overhaul showing up. She's apparently stuck at the clinic for chemo. Technical difficulties for Caleb. Oh, man. I never like to hear that news. I hope it's just like an error, technical difficulties or something. I hope it's okay. I hope everything's okay. If you guys don't know who Caleb is, that's our #1 fan out there in Montana. He's battling the child leukemia. If you guys aren't familiar with that, it's unfun. Who knows what unfun is? I don't know. I'm just going to put in front of things apparently today. That's kind of going to be my thing. I don't know. Who knows what it's going to be? But we don't like to hear that Caleb's not doing well. We want to hear progress. We want to hear good progress, and maybe it's just a technical difficulty, like they're just having problems turning on a machine or something. I hope it's something like that. The beeps and the boops and the scoobity boops and the things that they do at the hospital, hopefully it's just a mechanical error, and then everything will be good, and we'll get a good report, and we'll find out what's going on. If you, for any reason, want to swing by and see Mr. Caleb's story, I don't know what happened to the GoFundMe. Hold on here a second. This will take me a second. Caleb. I'll have to type in his Cal. I don't even have to type in Caleb. Here we go. Here is a copy of the GoFundMe. Dan Squires has it there too. Posted it into the live chat. You guys can check that out. You get a little background story on our homie there who's been battling for a couple years now, 3 years now. The childhood leukemia. And, I want to give a big shout out to Joel Gillett, John Gilman, John Van Wereen, Arush Dayal, and Eric Adams, the most recent people. Oh, Carrie Pitt also, Daryl Deemer. Man, these are fish fan people right here. These are people that are involved in the fish keeping community. They're helping out with all the crazy stuff that, leukemia is just... I wish we could all just like sit down and be like, yeah, we just don't want that anymore, and we could just be done with it. But apparently mankind would prefer to waste money building walls and a bunch of nonsense like that instead of, somebody asked me that the other day. They're like, what do you think we should put this money towards? I'm like, I don't know. How about leukemia? Why not do that? Why not, why don't we get some new vaccines? Why don't we just start vaccinating people for other disease? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a bunch of things that are way more important. There's J Homie 420 from Tijuana saying, "What's up? What's up?" From Tacoma. I'm in Tacoma, Washington, the United States. I digress. I don't want to get super political on here because people start to get super mad. They start to get super mad at me when I get super political, but I was deep in a discussion with a friend of mine last night, in regards, he doesn't live in the United States, he lives overseas, and it's one of those things, you start to get into a little bit of a conversation, and then it gets my brain rolling about that kind of stuff. Just the outstanding amount of money that is spent just by our, I feel like, just to give you guys my little piece of the political pie right here, just close one of the bases overseas and take that money and go construct border nonsense if you want. Does that feel like, I mean, we already put like $1.4 trillion a year into shooting rockets off in other countries. Now, all of a sudden, we need to put more money into building a border wall, but they don't want to build a border wall in between Canada. I literally brought this up with one of the groups. I was like, why aren't you petitioning for a border wall in between Canada and the United States if it's just a matter of, security? And they're like, well, nobody tries to sneak over the border from Canada. And I'm like, I've literally done it. I have snuck over the border into Canada and back. No one bothered me. No one bothered me until I was about 30 miles south of the U.S. border. And the only reason they bothered me is because I was walking on the side of the freeway. I was literally wearing my backpack and had my thumb out. I was being crazy sneaky, right? And they stopped to ask me, "Are you Canadian?" And I said, "No, I'm not Canadian." They said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I'm pretty sure." And they were like, "We want to see some ID." And I was like, "Sure, I'll show you my ID." And then they turned around and walked away. That was it. That's how much I got hassled by the Border Patrol. Literally. I got a backpack on. I got a bunch of gear with me and stuff. That's how much they bothered me. They literally asked me a couple of questions. And when I went to get my wallet out, they were like, never mind, and just left. That was it. So, that's like, to all those people out there that want to invest nonsense money into that, it's just a gigantic waste of time. Take that money and invest it into leukemia. How about that? How about that action? Why don't we do that? Why don't we petition our government to cure some more diseases? Right? Yeah. Anyhow, sorry about getting super political there, fish people. We'll get back onto the fish talk here in just a second. I want to say what's up to everybody real quick. Thank you for coming out. I guess I'm a little bit sassy today. And one of the reasons I'm a little bit sassy today is because I literally got a comment on the newest shrimp video that I posted up like yesterday. I posted up the new shrimp that came in yesterday, and I posted that video up, and one of the most recent comments I got was it was something like, "Oh, you're a beggar. It's embarrassing." And it was just like, okay. So anyhow, I don't think that person is going. Well, anyhow, when people post stuff like that, I just ban them. I'm just like, yeah, cool, whatever, man. It's not my job to convince you one way or the other. And clearly, you've made your statement. Awesome. See you later. Whenever you feel like, whatever. I don't know. Right. So I just delete them because I just don't have time for that kind of nonsense. But it brought up a little bit of a thought into my head in regards to, you know, like where monies and stuff like that have been going, you know. And I expressed in that video, thank you to you people that that show up, the Oceaneers, you guys that show up for the videos. You know, you guys, so many people kick in on Patreon, that kind of stuff. I want to give you guys an example. So I can't show you my analytics. I could screenshot it, but some people get super pissed if I post a screenshot. But I will, hold on. Where'd my little analytics thing go? All right, there it is over here. You figure I would know how to pull open the analytics at this point in time. So let's go to, what was the name of that? Where's my most recent videos? Okay, here we go. I have to open this thing up. And okay, there it is. So let's open this. Let's open this up and let's take a look right here. Oh, of course this is like super wonky. So, okay, so this video, all right, hold on. I can do this way faster on my phone. Hold on a second. I can hear the baby is totally upset. Speaking of vaccines, she got vaccinated this morning and went to the doctor. Turns out she's almost 12 pounds already. Woohoo! Baby growing fast. All right, so let me read off straight off the YouTube thing here. So 1,700 views, totally cool. And if we're talking about like averages on my channel, it'll probably get 800 or 900 more views, and then it will just get no more views after that. It's just reality, right? So at 1,700 views, we got 6,040 minutes watched, right? And that equals, I don't know if I can, there, $2.24. Right? So if if people think that like like I come on here and make a ton of money or something crazy like that, like you guys can literally go onto the Patreon and just see how much money I make. I leave it public on there, just how much money goes into production and stuff. As you guys know, we're building a new studio in the basement. That's coming out of Vicky's pocket, my pocket, and a small portion from you guys. Like I did order some new camera brackets and things like that, so that if I happen to move this, what the hell? Something just beeped. If I move the table, it won't shake the camera anymore because I'm actually going to mount the cameras to the wall. What is beeping? Hold on. Sorry about that. I left the speakers on the other computer. And people are chatting in the... Uh-oh. Let's see what's going on here. Is it... Oh, what's happening in here? Okay, we got a thing. Anyhow, so the yeah, but I leave the Patreon, so you guys can see what's going on. But like, I ordered some brackets, so I'm gonna be able to mount the cameras and everything from the ceiling and stuff instead of having it stuck to my desk, which it is right now. And I think that's gonna be pretty cool. Also, the lights that are in here right now are like on the desk, and there's a stand over there, and that's all crazy. So I'm just going to mount all that stuff from the ceiling and everything. And I do know, I was talking to Jake yesterday because he was like, man, are you going to make some videos of building out the studio? And I'm like, yes, when I get to a point where I can really make a substantive, is that? If I can make a substantial video that would be helpful to people. In the meantime, right now, I'm actually doing electrical and things like that, which generally speaking, I will show you guys like some real superficial video on electrical stuff, but I don't want to encourage anybody to get ahead of themselves as far as electrical goes. And hopefully that makes sense. It's like, I try to show you guys the DIY stuff that I think most people would be comfortable with doing, right? And I think the reason for that is just the amount of feedback I get from people on just putting together what I would consider to be, I don't know, simple is not the right word, but basic plumbing stuff. A lot of people get confused. They have a lot of confusion and stuff like that. That's the reality where it's like, oh, I don't think about it in terms like that actively, because I've gone through, training programs. I've gone through, a lot of on the job training and stuff like that. So I've gone through a lot of that stuff already. So it seems pretty basic to me. And one of the things with doing electrical is that, like, even at this point, like, elaborate electrical systems aren't that simple to me. I can take them apart, I could build them, I could do all of that kind of stuff, but they're still not simple. I take notes, I keep track of exactly what I'm doing, and I don't want to make a video that's like, hey, here's me wiring up some outlets. Here you go, buddy. And next thing you know, somebody decides that they're like, well, I watched your video and I just wired stuff up like it looked like in your video. And that may or may not be the thing. So because I'm not an electrical DIY channel, I don't think there's a place for that. But I do think that there is a place for some of the woodworking stuff that I do, because I do kind of sprinkle that in a little bit here and there. And I also think, the YouTube studio itself probably has a place on YouTube, because it would probably help anybody out to kind of maybe at least give them some ideas of like, oh, that's that little hanger that he used for that light. I want to use a different light, but that's really good, and try and include that stuff so you guys could maybe, do some of those things. I think most of the people that are more advanced anyhow, like Vince Grippa would be a perfect example. Like, he owns an electrical company, or like him and his dad do, I think. Like those guys, they're already just going to do the electrical anyhow, and it's sort of like redundant for them. And I don't think I'm necessarily going to be doing like an educational video of like, well, hey, here's how you put a sub panel in your house. Always be sure to drive your grounds at least 6 feet apart. And here's the hammer drill going into the ground. Like, that part would be cool, but you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to have somebody's house catch on fire or something, or somebody get injured or killed or something like that. So that's the reason I'm not going to include that stuff. I've got somebody was asking, what's my timeline? My timeline is ASAP, but realistic terms, I'm about 3 weeks out, probably. The first step realistically was a lot of the demo, which we got done quite a while ago. And then the next step was getting the washer and dryer put in, which is all fully installed now. Those of you that follow the community tab, or did I post that on Instagram? I think I posted that on Instagram too. But the washer and dryer in there, they're fully functional, and we've tested them, running them a lot. You know what I'm saying? So we've run them a lot, we've tested them out, and they definitely work quite well, and I'm happy with how they're performing. So it's not that big of a deal. Glenn from Canada says, insurance won't cover DIY electrical if your house goes up. That depends on your insurance. See, that's the crazy conversations we get into. Like, Canadian insurance, probably not. I don't know. But like, it really depends on your insurance, like what your policy covers. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it gets into these really long conversations, and I don't have to, it's like answering those questions like over and over and over again. It's like, look, I'm not an electrical company. You know what I mean? So, anyhow, the whole reason that all kind of combines in my head is because, it's, some people do have a tendency, like, the most common, like, dirtbaggy comment that I get is that, like, oh, you on here begging? You on here begging for money? It's like, no, we want to continue, like, making these shows and stuff, right? Like, no one's forcing anybody to watch my YouTube channel. but there's a group of us that want to just keep making these shows. We want to continue to see where this show goes, like how it can grow, how we could possibly get more people in the future. And to be honest with you, like, I enjoy long format stuff. I enjoy podcasts. I enjoy radio shows. I enjoy one-on-one conversations. Whether, some of the stuff I listen to is like people joking about farts and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, some of them are comedy podcasts. Some of them are super deep political conversation podcasts. Some of them are books on tape. Some of them are, like Bill Burr would be a perfect example. Like, he swears a lot on his and stuff like that, so I can't listen to it if there are little kids around, like on the loud radio. But I really do enjoy that format, right? So I started making the format of stuff that I like. Now, the videos that I make, yes, I want to keep making them better and better. Someday, I hope to be, and if you guys have never seen this show, it's called Grand Designs, and I'm going to post it, Grand Designs. It's way better than what I make on YouTube, for sure, 100%. I really like Grand Designs. I like that show. I like the cinematography. I like how the sound is done. I like the editing of it, the pacing of it, the storytelling of all aspects of it and stuff like that, right? There's probably 90 people that work on that show. You know what I mean? So if we start to think about it in terms of like, well, how do we get from A to B, right? At some point in time, somebody said to me, like, I don't understand. You like working with fish and plants and stuff. Why don't you just become a biologist? Like, okay, well, let's do the math on that. So if I go and spend, let's just, for argue's sake, let's call it $40,000 a year so I can go work on my bachelor's, which I could probably get done pretty rapidly. Just with the carryover credits and all that kind of stuff, I could probably get that done in a year and a half, 2 years if I was just working on it straight up. Then I would have to spend. I'd have to go do my master's degree, right? Which I could probably get done in like, what is that? Another 3 years. So we're at 80,000 plus 120,000, so about 200 grand in loans. Then I would have to go get my doctorate, because I mean, if you're going to go all the way up to get your master's, you might as well go do your doctorate, which is probably another 2 years after that to get the thesis done and then all that. So that's another 80 grand, something like that. So it's probably going to be, let's say, $250,000, right, to get to that point. And then I'd be accredited. Then I'd be able to go get a job that pays about 80 to 90 grand a year, which I'd really have to work at that in order to get to a point where I'd be making probably 200 grand a year, something like that, to be able to pay off all the loans and stuff. But which is all fine and dandy. I would be happy to do that. But nowadays, we have full access to all the PhD papers via the internet and stuff like that. They get published online constantly. So we get to look at all that information that those guys are all looking up and working on, combine that with our experience, and be able to kind of move forward. Do I think that it's a bad path? No, I think it's a great path. But that's not necessarily what I want to do. If, let's say, I become a biologist, they're going to be like, why are you filming stuff? And I'd be like, it's really pretty down here, guys. I'm making a video about it. And they're like, you can't make a video about it. You need to write up, you have to write up 10 different things about a thing. And then we're going to submit it to those guys. And then those guys are going to review it. And then once we get the peer review, science is awesome. I love it. I think if there was just one thing I was going to do in my life, I probably already would have just gone the science route and been like, yeah, I'm just going to work over here on this thing. And, but I constantly want to work on different things. I literally have on my desk here, I have a tape measure. I I have parts to put computers together. I got my coffee cup, obviously. I've got fish food on my table. I've got a crystal ball. I've got 2 cameras right back here. Oh, I guess it would be kind of cool if I like frame those up into the shot. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2, right? I don't know. It's better to just go over here. Anyhow, but that just kind of gives you guys an idea. I've got canvas back here that I'm working on. You know what I mean? Like that just kind of gives you an idea of how much I don't really feel like I'm going to work on one thing. You know, I was trained as a chef while I was in college so that I could pay to go to college. And then I realized, like, it seems kind of stupid to go to college and make less than being a chef that I was already trained to do. Cool. Can I still like research and go to school and stuff? And they were like, yeah. And then I got 2 jobs, and then I got into drugs and alcohol and did all that stuff for about 20 years, right? And now I've been sober for, hold on, let's check in with the calendar over here. Oops, wrong thing. It's that one. Yeah, there we go. 1,707 days I've been sober, and that's why we're just plugging along. We just been doing these videos, doing these live streams, because this is what I like to do. This is what I like to do, and you guys show up, and you can support it if you like. You can support it if you don't like. And it seems like a big, giant, rambling nonsense, but hey, that's all part of the show. It's a lot of the rambling nonsense. It's Monday, guys. I feel like I haven't talked to you in a long time. It's been like 2 days. We watched a movie. We also like hung out with the baby. What else did we do this weekend? I forget. What else did we do this weekend? Something. We just pretty much hung out with the baby all weekend, just taking care of our daughter number 1, I think. That's pretty much it. I mean, I did some stuff in the fish room, but that's pretty much that's kind of pretty obvious. We got the brand new shrimp. We got some super chats here. We got one from Stephen Pope, with a $5 super chat for the Beggars Fund. Thank you. And Megan Ness says, so jealous of those shadow shrimp. Been wanting those for a while. Just never knew where to get good quality ones. That's why I kind of threw you guys down the link. Now, if you guys go to the shrimp video, you guys can go to Blue Crown Aquatics. Now, full disclosure here, I have no affiliate links, any of that stuff with those guys. Let me check. Hold on a second. Guys, I'm terrible, but I do. If you want to go order shrimp, I have a code that you'll be able to utilize and go there and save 15% if you're so inclined. If that's something that you want, I gotta open my chat from Eric because he sent me the code. Hold on, we gotta scroll here. I don't want to type it in wrong. I literally want to just copy and paste it. There we go. Okay, copy, paste, boom. So if you type in on the checkout, it'll save you 15%. If you type that right there, Disco Bees, all one word, seems to be undercase too, maybe not case sensitive, I'm not sure. That'll save you 15% from Blue Crown. I'm probably saying their name wrong. Yeah, Blue Crown Aquatics Trade. Okay, Blue Crown Aquatics, that's the spot. Put the Disco Bees code in there, or bluecrownaqua.com. There you go. Dan Squires has it. If you go there and you put Disco Bees in there, it'll save you 15% on what you're ordering. That gives me nothing. It doesn't have anything to do with me. I don't make any money off of that, anything like that. If anybody's tripping out, I don't. Yeah, that's just literally you guys can get 15% off if you want. So they got some good quality shrimp. I'm pretty happy with how everything came in. Everything is acclimated well. One shrimp didn't make it during the shipping. I don't think that really had anything to do with anything other than it just being shipping, though. It didn't. It wasn't like, oh man, this is messed up or anything like that. There was nothing wrong with it. The water quality was great. The shipping quality was great. That's you know, so everything was cool with that. Just one just didn't make it. It's shrimp. They're not, you know, they're not long for this world. Let's see. Sam Shermer says, I don't have any content on my current channel. Gerson says, a good, not so expensive light for a 20-gallon long. Like I said, I would either go, I mean, if you wanted to save some money, I would go with the Phoenix light. If you really needed to be thrifty, seems like the best one for the money. If you were, you know, if you really were like trying to save money and you were kind of doing some small tanks like that, I think I would personally recommend the Phoenix light if you were trying to just go thrifty. I know that if you order them from the Aquarium Co-op, here's a link to the LED lights. I don't think it's a link to the Phoenix, but that's the Aquarium Co-op. I think that he does some of the warranty service and stuff like that if you get one messed up. That's one of the reasons that we are an affiliate sponsor of the Aquarium Co-op. But if you do go through my links to the Aquarium Co-op, it does give me some kickback. But the only reason I give you guys or recommend anybody to go to the Aquarium Co-op is because they're awesome. And I wouldn't be doing any work with those guys if that weren't the case, right? So they are an affiliate sponsor, and they're an actual sponsor of this video. I put the Easy Green up in the corner, and the arrow's back. So if anybody, big shout out to anybody that's been missing the arrow. You know, if you're like Sopa Loco, I should hold on. Who was it that said that? Somebody said that they missed the arrow. Yeah, Sopa Loco said they missed the arrow. Yeah? Well, shout out. If you're first to the chat and you say you missed the arrow, boom, you gotta get some arrows. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this before, but I literally got to pull the plastic off, or the plastic paper covering off of the acrylic. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that before. That's a 120-gallon aquarium, custom made by Crystal Aquatics out here, or Crystal Fabrications, or Clear Fabrications. Crystal, I don't know. Jason made it. Jason Gregory made it for us. We paid full price, which is fine. I'm more than happy to support local guys like that do awesome work. You know what's funny is like the other, so the 180 and the 150, the 180's gone now, but the 150 that's still in my fish room turns out was made by Jason. I bought it used from a guy because I saw a picture of it online and was like, screw it, I got to own that tank. And he gave me a really good price on it. Turns out Jason made that one. And the 60 cube that I have, turns out Jason made that one too. Because I saw a picture of it and was like, oh my God, that thing is so nice. I got to have that. And it turns out Jason just makes dope tanks that if I see them used somewhere, I'm like, how am I going to buy it? I'll figure it out. I'll put this on layaway credit charge. I don't care. As you guys know, I put a lot of stuff on the credit card because life's too short to care. Well, you know, I pay it off. I don't carry any debt by the end of the month. I figure out how to pay that off because I ain't paying interest rates on no credit cards. Even though I do have good credit cards, I'm still not paying 14%. Like, that's nuts. You know? Like, inflation's let's just say 2%. And I'm going to be paying 14%? What you talking about? No, I ain't going. I put the stuff on the credit card and then I pay it off. I do whatever I can do to pay it off. Well, almost anything. You know what I mean. I don't do any of that late night street business. You know what I mean? I don't do any of that. Simon Shaw says, hey, Joel, I found a 7,000K LED light. Oh, the Sun. Great for low cost, high output LED. Cost me 17 quid. Quid pro quo. Tried it and results were great, even with the fussy plants. Simon, I bet you the Sun is probably pretty decent in Europe. or the UK or wherever you're at. Probably the UK would be my guess because you're paying with pounds, right? Pound, hashtag pound. Chances are that's probably the case. It's probably a decent light out there in Europe. I mean, I know Dennerley has a cool light. I know that like Twin Star has a cool light out there. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I was in Europe, I was like, oh, there's planted LEDs just everywhere. Like wherever you go, Germany had like, I don't know, man. Germany had like 20 different kinds at their, what is the zoo? The something zoo? Cola Zoo? The Cola Zoo store, which is like their version of Petco. And dude, like, I was just like really impressed by the quality and different types that they had. So that might be the case. Maybe if you're in Europe, that sounds good. That might be awesome. Most of the Sun stuff that makes it to the US just don't last very long. As you guys know, I've gone the route of building my own LEDs quite a few times. If you've been around this channel for a long time, I would highly recommend looking into the what is it, the Q10 mount? What is that mount? Oh, hold on. I'm gonna have to figure this out real quick. Oh, which reminds me, I had to order a new monitor. It's like the worst thing in the world. I don't know if you guys think that, but it is like, it's like the most depressing thing in the world when a monitor just, like, it just doesn't work anymore. You know, like it's still on, but it's gone from clarity to not good. And it has everything to do with probably everything to do with the new computer. It won't display, like I can't edit photos on it because it doesn't display them properly. So the computer tells me, no, you can't do it. So I have to do it over here on this other monitor. So I had to order a new monitor, and that's like the biggest drag. I mean, I don't know. I guess that like some people are way into it, but I don't know. I would rather be able to get a new lens for my camera and take cool pictures. But I have to like be able to edit them. What the? This opened like a whole new... This opened a whole new window. That was weird. Let me see here. What is it? Was it like MR28 or something like that? MR28. Mount? What is that? Well, I thought I had it in here. Hold on. DOT. I can't remember the mount number in my head right now during the show, but I do have some. Let me see. What's the... Hold on. Let me try this. I'm going to try searching something else. Bases. For LED lights. What's that called? Recessed? Let me see here. Oh, here we go. We're getting on the right track here. We're getting close. We're getting close. There's like the E26. That's not right. But that's kind of similar. No. Recessed lighting with the E26. This is like when the show gets like really interesting. GU10. There it is. I knew I'd find it. Okay, so if you go into Amazon, hold on, I'll look it up for you. GU10. Here we go. Let me make sure that they're the right spectrum. We want daylight. Oh, there they are. $20. That's not bad. So this would be if you wanted to... If you wanted to go like super duper duper thrifty on your LED lighting, you would take this link right here, and then it'll take you over to the Amazon, and it'll show you the Amazon Basic Daylight Bulb. Now, the base on that is a GU10. That's what I couldn't remember. It was G10, G something. I don't know. It's pretty rare that I have to do that stuff these days. But it's a GU10 is the base. That's the little prongs that stick out of the bottom of it, and it's going to need a socket. But the sockets that you can get, you can kind of just wire those into even just an old canopy. Like an old canopy, and then they actually are 120 volts. So as long as you can just wire them into a regular old lamp power cord. You just want to wire them all in succession, starting with one, go to the next one, and eventually end with the very last one, right? You can actually just do those flat out, and then it makes it a lot easier. If that was the way that you wanted to go and be super cheap, that's a way that you can go. But you do have to kind of stack these up. I still have some of these in operation underneath the 150 over the sump, which they actually are coming out very soon. I actually grabbed a bunch of wiring stuff for cable management to all you interneters out there that like to type in cable management on my videos. I was getting prepped for all that to actually replace those lights underneath there, but they've done exceedingly well for a small amount of investment. But just bear in mind that the spectrum's not going to be exact. It's you're making a lot. You're making a lot of concession for where you could just pick up an extra shift at work and save up some money and get a Fluval 3.0, which are friggin' dope. Like, it just really isn't a better one for the price out there. I know that there are companies that sell more expensive lights. I just don't think that they're necessarily better, especially dollar per dollar. I mean, you're really going to get the performance that you want. I think the most expensive one at Aquarium Co-op is like $158 or something like that. I mean, you could literally go work 2 shifts at a you could go work 2 shifts at a McDonald's and make $158. You know what I mean? Like, you could, it's something you could literally do. You could just go work at McDonald's for 2 shifts, even if you don't work there, and be able to get one of those. So, is it worth it? I think so. I think they're well worth it. But yeah. Oh yeah, part of this video is sponsored by the Aquarium Co-op, because the Fluval stratum that we put in here, those 3 bags that were put in, those were actually gifted to us by Corey from Aquarium Co-op. I offered to buy them from him, and he said, "No, why don't I just sponsor the other substrate that you need?" You guys will notice that I dumped a big bin of substrate in there. We had a bunch of substrate from Vicky's 75. We're actually just going to bring that over. I let it dry out, all that. I kind of cleaned it, let it dry out, and just stored it. And that's actually going to go into this tank. What's going to be the main focus of this tank? The main focus of this tank is going to be bamboo shrimp and all of the plants that kind of go along with bamboo shrimp. So this is going to be a low light tank. It's going to be pretty tannin rich. We're going to have high flow moving about. And we're also going to have lots of bulbitis, anubias, probably some of the bucaphealandras will be in here that will be, you know what I mean? They'll be in here, right? Some of the buses, as people like to call them. Oh, sorry. I'm just moving something around on my desk. But we're probably going to have that kind of stuff. We're definitely going to be... It's going to definitely be pretty laid-back, kind of chill tank, but a lot of flow and a lot of the big leafy green stuff, because it's going to have bamboo shrimp, vampire shrimp, fan-feeding shrimp are going to be the main focus in this tank. That is what Vicky has sent me on the path to do here. The moon rocks that we collected with Chris Lukup are going to be one of the big parts of the the hardscape in here, which there's nowhere I can really send you other than Nevada to go find some of that rock. That's how I had to get it. We drove all the way out to Nevada with the Shrimp King himself, Mr. Chris Lukup. And we collected it with our hands like men, right? But most of the plants that go in here, you can definitely get those from the Aquarium Co-op. The Easy Green that I'll be using in this, the Aquarium Co-op, those dance moves, those are patented. You can't have those. And but most of the plants that are going to be going in here, those will be easily gotten from the Aquarium Co-op. You know what I mean? So you'll be able to get those if you like, along with the, the almond leaves and almost everything I'm going to be using in here. You'll be able to get from the Aquarium Co-op. So that's why I feel like it's a pretty good pairing. I feel like it's a pretty good pairing of a little bit of sponsorship. I told Corey I was going to buy him, but then he was just like, "Hey, why don't I just sponsor that tank a little bit to help out pay for the making the wife happy and setting up the tank the way she wants it." And I was like, "You're onto something." So honestly, if you guys keep going to the co-op and buying stuff, then we'll be able to keep doing projects. That's just kind of how it goes. Is that how it goes? That's how it goes. But the other place is Patreon, and I want to say thanks. We've had a massive influx of patronizers over the weekend. Frank Lombardo coming on, Joel Gus coming on, Jeanette Nielsen, Danny Higgins. Thank you with all the new patronizers, and Megan Tornatore raised it up to 777. That's a perfect example right there. You could start out and always change however much you wanted to Patreon. It's once a month, and it just helps fund the show and the videos and all that kind of stuff. Trying to help people out. Phil Emerson says he's trying to learn his new phone. Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a whole lot of reason to learn the learn your new phone. Let's see. Billy says, has been keeping my LR Brett's shrimp nice and happy. He's got some organic soil. I don't trust organic soil, except for outside in my garden, that's for sure. Speaking of Lucas, I think he's going to be in town at some point in time. I think so. I don't know. Dan Squires posted the Patreon. Let's see. I've got too many tanks in the works, but not enough lighting. Got to order some lights from Terrence. Yeah, I would recommend the Fluval 3.0s from Aquarium Co-op. It's turning into an Aquarium Co-op commercial. We've got Easy Green up in there. We've got an arrow in the corner. I keep talking about Fluval lights, whatever. Kevin Rosenberg says, is it okay to cycle a tank without substrate? Yeah, for sure. 100%. You just need something for the bacteria to live on. More often than not, people like me use ceramic rings, some kind of biological media. You could buy the fancy stuff, or you could be a baller like me and buy the Chinese-made, ceramic rings, and I find it to be kind of the best. It's the best. It just works fantastically. But yeah, you can 100%. You need water and something for the bacteria to cling to. It can technically cling to the sides and whatever surface is in there, pretty much. It really is something you could do. Mark Dibble is asking, is it okay to top off a shrimp tank with distilled water? No. Negative, Ghost Rider. You want RODI water, so you just want clean water. Distilled water, you'd probably be okay, but distilled water has a weird ionization to it. And I think I forget. It's something about the ionic charge or something goofy like that. It's got something weird in it that has a tendency to draw too many minerals from the existing water. Not recommended. I think you'd probably be all right if you had like a really I don't know, but I just, from what I've known over the years, it's always just been a no with the distilled water, and I think it had to do with like the ionic charge or something like that. Terrence says, I bought 3 Fluval 3.0s after the Great Lighting sale they had in November. I'm so smart, but I was happy to have the co-op the cashola. Well, Terrence, keep up the good work. To everybody else out there, you can use. I have a code you guys can use one time. One time. You can only use it one time if you've used it previously, and that's the. Here it is. And it'll get you 10% off. It pains me to say that. It pains me to say there is a code. Because it pretty much, it takes away from me making any money. That's basically what it comes down to. But if I can save you guys 10%, that's worth it to me. I don't care. Michael Faria says, you're blocking the scape, bud. Please move. Yeah, I know. I had the camera set up in a weird spot. It kept and I couldn't get it to pin focus for whatever reason. It kept I was doing some weird stuff. I think I was screwing around with my camera and had the settings all weird, and probably should have spent some time on that, but it's been pretty darn busy around here. If you can't hear my baby in the background, she's having a hard day today. It's been that kind of day. She's been a little bit cranky. She's growing, though. She's growing like crazy. She's almost 12 pounds already. Jessica Thiergartner was using the Fluval Stratum for my existing tanks just to replace most of the gravel, but then I was told Fluval stuff leaks ammonia. Can I still do it without killing the 3 fish tanks? There is a little bit of ammonia that does seep from the Fluval Stratum. ADA Amazonia does that. Almost, well, I'm going to say almost every, but most of these volcanic-based, aquascaping soils will do that for a little while. It is a pretty innocuous amount of ammonia. It will, if you have a tank that's cycled, the bacteria should be feeding on that ammonia and stuff and breaking it down. But, you may have to just increase your water changes a little bit to once a week or maybe twice a week or something like that, depending on what your current situation is. But you should be monitoring your tanks anyhow, and it's really not a crazy amount. But the tank adjacent to this one that we just added the shrimp to, that's one of the reasons that it was so easy to cycle and keep the cycle alive in that tank for the couple months that I had it set up and just running, is that a little bit of ammonia does come from the soil. And it keeps the cycle. It maintains the cycle without me having to dose or add. I don't have to add ammonia to the water column or anything like that. And it does work fine. It keeps the cycle going, and it's sort of like fishless cycling without actually really even having to do the cycle manually, right? Because the cycle is going to do its own thing naturally. It's all just part of nature. The bacteria and everything involved in cycling is just naturally going to happen as long as the components are there, and one of the main components being ammonia to break down into nitrite and then break down into nitrate. Then your plants are going to eat the nitrates. Boom. The circle of life. There's not even any Hakuna Matata in there. You know what I mean? It's just going to happen. We don't even really have to motivate ourselves to really do that much with it. Let's see. James Reet is asking, will whiptail catfish eat Neocaridina shrimp? I have wild Neocaridina coming in soon for my 65-gallon planted tank, and I'm worried about my whiptails eating them. Well, first of all, okay, Neocaridinas, and anything that... okay, hold on. Let me start over here. Okay, shrimp of all varietals, whether they're salt or freshwater or anything like that, generally speaking, are a food source for larger creatures and even larger shrimp. Now, they're a food source for so many things out there, and I would essentially put it this way: if it could fit in its mouth, a shrimp would probably, or if the shrimp could fit in its mouth, the shrimp could probably become food. Now, whiptail cats are pretty darn peaceful, realistically. I think, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head if whiptails only eat wood. I feel like they only eat wood. Hold on a minute. Let me see here. I think they really only eat like wood and stuff like that. Twig catfish primarily eat a vegetarian diet, but they should be fed a combination of sinking herbivore pellets, lightly blanched vegetable. What am I thinking of that only eats a wood cat? Well, the whiptails are herbivores, generally speaking, but almost anything that could fit a shrimp in its mouth, even if it is an herbivore, will sometimes take a chance at eating a shrimp. But the other side of that coin, here's the other side of that coin. It's not so much be stressed out that much about your shrimps being eaten. It's just assume that they're going to be eaten, right? Maintain a healthy environment for the shrimp. And guess what? Shrimps, generally speaking, will outbreed being eaten. Now, obviously, if 100 of them are being eaten every day, they'll end up disappearing. There won't be any left, right? But that's generally what shrimp do in the wild. They generally breed like crazy, and their numbers get high enough up that they're able to maintain a colony. The adults, as Daniel Keeping Fish said, they might eat the shrimplets, the little babies and stuff, because they are just so small. It might just accidentally just get in their mouth, and then, whoops, oh, I ate a shrimp. I'm not vegan anymore. Whoops. And but the adults are pretty quick. They do have a tendency to be able to escape pretty rapidly from most fish. But bear in mind, if that shrimp hasn't hidden and it's dark yet, and you got a predatory fish is gonna win every time in the dark. So make sure you want to ramp down your lights fairly slowly in a shrimp tank. That is something that is really nice to do for the more adult shrimps if you have any other fish in the tank. Just give them a chance for them to hide. You know what I'm saying? That's another reason why I like those Fluval 3.0 lights or lights like that, because they can slowly, hey, the sun's going down, everybody, you know, that kind of deal. So I find that to be pretty helpful and will kind of stop some of that predation, you know. But the shrimplets are just kind of always in danger. You know what I mean? Like they just are almost always in danger. I'm happy to be back in the shrimp game and not just the cherry shrimp. I know that Megan Ness super chatted earlier about the shrimps, and I gave you guys a code earlier in the live chat that will give you guys 15% off if you guys are interested in that. I don't have any affiliate with those guys. Literally just ordered shrimp from them and stuff. And I know some people were asking me on the down low, you know, shooting me some DMs, you know what I mean? They're all sliding into my DMs like, "Hey man, I'm up here in your DMs. What are you doing?" Right? Being creepy. And I was like, "Hey, what's up, buddy? What's going on?" And they're like, "Why didn't you order shrimps from somewhere else?" And I would say, I let the somewhere else places, I tried to build some kind of relationship with them, and it didn't work. So I was like, I'm just going to order shrimp from a guy that I know has award-winning shrimp. I was like, oh, he has really award-winning shrimp. I never got to tour his fish house, fish room, shrimp room, whatever you want to call it. We ran out of time. That's Eric Martin's, Disco Bee Shrimp. We ran out of time when we were down in California, and we couldn't make it across L.A. because he was on the other side of Los Angeles. When I say L.A., he was on the other side of Los Angeles, and it was just like, man, the Google Maps says it's going to be like a lot of hours to try and get over there, and we were kind of late already. So we definitely were on a timeline, and we didn't have a time to go to Disco Bee Shrimp, but Eric has always been super cool. And I was like, you know what? Hey, what's the deal? You guys got some shadow pandas around? And he was like, yeah, they're over here. Get a hold of these guys. They'll get them sent out to you. And I'm like, dope. So I ordered them, and they sent them out, and it was all good, right? So why didn't I use some of the other, YouTubers or whatever? I don't know. I tried to build relationships with those people, and it didn't work out all that well. So I figure I might as well just order from a place that's good and just pay. That's just straight up, Some of the people I even made paintings for, and yeah, it's like radio silence. It's like radio silence. It's like radio silence from other YouTube peeps. Oh, So, I don't know. People are like, well, everybody has like personality and stuff or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, I just don't have time. I don't have time for it. I don't have time for successful people that think they're a big deal. Because I don't think I'm a big deal. Do you know what I'm saying? Tizzle Dexter says, so crazy question. A tank that was used for a reef for over 10 years. It was I'm sorry. Outside. That's supposed to, the guy is supposed to be an O. Sorry. It was outside in South Carolina on a screen porch the whole time. It's being drained and moved. Should I get it resealed? Okay. First things first. If this is a glass aquarium and it's been sitting for 10 years, yes, it is time to re-silicone that thing. You know what I mean? It is 100% time to re-silicone that thing because the life of the silicone is not going to last past 10 years. I mean, they used to put on silicone things like, we give a 50-year guarantee on our silicone, and guess what? They constantly had to send out new tubes of silicone whenever anybody said, hey, it's been 20 years, and your stupid silicone failed, right? You know what I mean? So I think the best you can see now is about 5 years on silicone or something like that, but aquarium manufacturers, whether they're the professional ones or even amateur hour, they only recommend a 7-year life expectancy on silicone that has been installed in between holding 2 sheets of glass together to thusly create an aquarium. A 7-year life expectancy is what you should expect even from a brand new aquarium. Now, before I get 1,000 comments from people that are like, I've had my fish tank for 12 years and it hasn't failed. Yes, I understand that things can operate much further and longer than that, but the recommended timeline is every 7 years to get an aquarium resealed with silicone. It's just an experience thing. Yeah, sometimes they last for 20 years. Sometimes they last for 2 years, But the 7 years is what is recommended if it has been that long. So, yes, I would definitely recommend re-siliconing that tank, especially if you're getting it for free. Look, you're just probably going to do some work and get that tank. That I would just look at it that way, that like, oh, man, I'm just got to do some work and get that tank. Just remember to let it cure for 1 week after you're done siliconing it and before you go putting water in it because that's dangerous. Daniel, keeping fish, says keeping a mono shrimp can help feed them. They'll catch and eat the larvae the amanos release into the water. Wait, what? Oh, what's he talking about? I don't know. Daniel, keeping fish. Vampires are like wood shrimp. Don't keep your water too clean or they'll starve, and make sure there's some flow. Yes, that is good advice, Daniel. So I don't know what you're talking about, but I just kind of jumped in and read your question. It wasn't a question. But it sounds like Daniel's giving good advice in there. So whatever you guys are talking about, keep it up. And I'm not going to say I agree with everything you've ever said, but it seems like you're on the right track. If I'm thinking what the questioning is. Jamie McDonald says, okay, I went looking for this stream at 6 and it wasn't there. I never got a notification from YouTube. What up with that anyway? Hi, everyone. Hey, Jamie, good to see you. Yeah, I think I started like 5 or 6 minutes late. I was rendering some video and was waiting for it to finish. The new computer says that it can handle streaming and rendering at the same time, and I did test it and it did work, but that doesn't seem like the way to go, just to be pushing it, you know what I mean? So I just figured just wait a couple of minutes. So and as far as notifications go, I don't know, I'm not in charge of that. We have 178 people here right now, supposedly smooshing like buttons with their button smooshing thing. And that probably means that the notification didn't go out to around 22,000 other people or something. I don't know. I think if we ever had 22,000 people in here, we'd be like, oh, notifications went out, obviously. Oh, can you actually hear Olivia in the background? Oh, she is super fussy today. She's going to need Papa to go make her fly around like a super baby here in a little bit. I don't know if you guys try this, but I put her on her belly, and I hold her like face, head, neck apparatus with this hand, and then I kind of get under her belly with this hand, and then we go flying around the house. It's pretty good. That normally calms her down. She's like, whoa, this is wild. I think that's why, because it's just wild. It's like she's flying. Let's see. Just Bob says, I've had 20-gallon glass aquarium for 35 years, but I would say with the larger aquariums, it's more of a necessity. I'm getting nervous, though. I'll probably reseal it this year. Yeah, I would say 35 years is certainly pushing it with a glass aquarium. I would certainly think that that's pushing it with a glass aquarium, and I would just reseal it. So, props for it making it that long. But a 20-gallon, you're right, is pretty small, so I wouldn't be super-duper concerned about it. Mark Dibble says, how many years for acrylic tanks? Here's one of the great things. It's one of the reasons I like acrylic tanks. So, like Jason, like this aquarium right here, he says he'll give you a 100% guarantee it's not going to blow out. And he gave me a lifetime guarantee for as long as I'm alive that the tank won't blow out. Now, obviously, if I run it over with a truck or, smash it with a hammer or something like that, it does void the warranty. But he's just like, as long as you're alive, I'll replace whatever aquarium damages anything, basically. That's the way he put it. I mean, I'm paraphrasing his words. His was funnier, and I remember laughing when he told me, but he was basically like, as long as I'm alive, he's like, whatever needs to happen, he'll make it right. So another reason why I like acrylic aquariums, they almost come with a 50-year warranty, I do know that, what is it, Sea Clear maybe? Sea Clear? Maybe it's Sea Clear. I think Sea Clear Aquariums gave a 50-year warranty, I think. Megan Ness says we have 170 people and only 100 likes. She says karate chop smash the button with the like. What? What? Or just, become a new Patreon. That's cool too. If we had 20,000 patronizers, we could do the 20,000-gallon aquarium, you guys. If we had 20,000 Oceaneers on Patreon, we could do the 20,000-gallon aquarium, and I could drive it around the country, come to people's houses and do videos at their houses. That's my long goal. If anybody's tripping and they're wondering what my long-term goal is, my long-term goal is to make a fish tank-oriented show, whether it's on YouTube or Netflix or Amazon or wherever, I don't care. A fish tank oriented show, a lot like that Grand Designs show where we travel around, whether it be Australia, England, lovely America, Mexico, Brazil, Portugal, Spain, Italy, Swaziland. I don't care. We want to go there. We want to do the thing. And document and help people's fish tanks and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's the goal. That's the long goal. Jamie McDonald says, when will we be able to subscribe to this channel? You should be able to subscribe right now. I don't know. Maybe somebody's talking about a new channel. But that's the channel that's the show that I'm working on trying to do. That's the long-term plan. I mean, obviously I do these long live streams and stuff, but that's the long-term goal. Randy says I vote PBS. Yes, you know. Well, here's a perfect example. Our guy, Kobe, from the Aquarium Co-op, who would have thought, you know, had you gone back, like, see, I literally met Corey like 5-6 years ago whenever he was starting his store out. I went down there with a store owner that I worked for. I worked at a reef store, and we actually went down there when he had just started out the build-out for his store. And I'd met him previously a couple of times at the Seattle Aquarium, the Seattle Aquatic Society, Aquarium Society, the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society meetings and stuff like that. Like I'd met him there before, but the first time I ever really met him, and we obviously didn't spend a lot of time together or anything like that. We went down there to talk about his store build and all that kind of stuff. And I would tell you this, from my own perspective, I was like, I don't know. It seems like he's got a good idea. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I remember talking to him about the amount of capital that he had, what his operating costs were going to be and stuff like that, because that's stuff that I've definitely done things like that in my life. And I was just like, yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work. At the time, it was all going to be a co-op, right? That's why it's called Aquarium Co-op. Everything that he was going to carry was going to be just locally made, and he was going to, you know what I mean? So, but who would have thought that if you went back like 5 or 6 years ago that he'd be at where he's at now, doing so well and doing fantastically? You wouldn't have thought that, you know? So I think if you go back 2 years ago, 3 years ago on my channel, you'd be like, oh, there's no way this guy would ever be able to pull off a show. And, you know, maybe right now I'm in the middle of getting to that goal. You know, I feel like we're having fun and having a good time now, so that's going to work. Got a $5 super chat from Terrence asking, do you go to rock shows or other concerts around the Seattle-Tacoma area much? If so, who was the last band you saw? Ooh, man, we're getting intense here with that conversation. Yes, I am somebody that... I am definitely somebody that has been to a lot. And when I say a lot of concerts and live shows and stuff like that, it is way up there. That's a lot of my youth. I spent a lot of my youth going to shows, being at shows, helping out with shows, doing shows, blah, you know. I've definitely seen a lot of bands. The last bands we went to see was NoFX, Bad Religion, Less Than Jake, and somebody else was there. There was just this little festival. It was like a punk rock festival down here in Tacoma. They happened to come here. We went to that. So these days, I don't really go to a lot of rock shows. And one of the big concerts or orchestras or any of that kind of stuff, because if a bill, I'll put it this way. Typically speaking, if I see a billing come up that is like, oh, we got to go see this show, I'll be like, I've probably seen them already, and they're just going to be like 10 years or 15 years older now, which typically is not a big deal, but like, you know, I was driving up the street, driving up the freeway the other day, and I saw an ad for REO Speedwagon, right? And to be honest with you, I don't know how old REO Speedwagon is, but let's see, REO Speedwagon age. Like, how old are those guys? So the years active, REO Speedwagon has been active since 1967. So let's see, Neil Allen Doty is 2 years older than my dad. Now, I'm not trying to speak ill of the older group. You know what I mean? But if I was going to go see, like, a rock band, like, all right, here, like, if I was going to go see Led Zeppelin, like, would you rather go see Led Zeppelin in 1978, or would you rather go see Led Zeppelin in 2018 when they're 40 years older? Right? It's sort of a young man's game, like, to be that hard high rock, you know, like, we're wild. So I don't feel like most bands really age all that well, and then I'd end up really wanting to go see them. But somebody that I probably would go see at this point, and a lot of people are going to argue with me on this or whatever, and I don't really care, but I would probably go see Justin Timberlake now. I think I would probably go see Justin Timberlake out of anybody realistically. And the reason I say Justin Timberlake is because that's probably one of the only recognizable names that anybody would even, you know, get with. T. Riddle says the last concert he went to was Soundgarden and Our Lady Peace. Yeah, Soundgarden, actually, those guys always put on a great show. Kim Thale, their guitar player, is an awesome dude. And if you hang around Seattle, you might get a chance to go sit next to Kim Thale and hang out and talk with him. He is super awesome. I'm very sad that Chris Cornell died. It still bugs me today. I actually used to work in a place where they always used to tell us, Chris Cornell worked right where you're working. Just so you know, Chris Cornell used to work here. I saw an interview with him a little while ago that was like, yeah, I used to work at this place, Ray's Boathouse, when I was younger. And I was like, oh my God, he actually did work there. Ooh, that's a crazy question. What was the worst concert I've ever been to? The ones that don't get put on. Those are the worst ones. Those are always the worst. Always the worst. Mark Dibble says the Toadies. Toadies good. Tool. Tool's kind of 50-50 live. Like, I enjoyed them. They're like, man, you got to be in the right mood if you go to see Tool, because the crowd is overwhelming. The crowd is overwhelming, and if the sound is just straight open air, like, it might not be that good. Or maybe the expectations are too high or whatever. I don't know, but it's just not that great. Let's see here. Randy Hightower, would it be feasible to use CO2 for a few weeks to a month for a newly planted tank to give them a boost and then discontinue use after they are established, or would that just cause problems? I think long term, if you were to eliminate the CO2 like that, you'll just give a great opportunity for algae to get a good foothold in there. And I don't think that's necessarily the best. Lexi V says Flogging Molly was my last concert, or laser concert. Flogging Molly was pretty good. I've seen them like 3 times, actually. Every single time they were good, except for one of them, which they started out pretty good, and then I think they had a little bit too much to drink, and it was still good, but it was like if you didn't know from the other shows how good they were, you probably didn't notice it. But if you'd actually been to some of their other shows, that would have been a little bit weird. Nightwish, I think I saw Nightwish in like 2004 at El Corazon, which used to be the off ramp. I think something like that. Maybe 2007. I don't know. Let's see here. Let me catch up. Oh, we have super chats. I don't want to miss these. Carrie Pitt with a $6 Canadian super chat for filming in Canada. Man, I really want to come up to Vancouver. If you guys don't know, Friday Fish Facts is up in Canada, along with Flynn is up there also. There's a bunch of people in Vancouver, Canada. I would love to go up and do some tour up there. Vicky and I have got to figure out our passport status. Our passport status was Q10. We have to figure out our passport status if Canada will let us back in, which is always interesting. You know, the relation between Canada and America, it's kind of funny. If you actually have any kind of criminal record, they don't let you go across the border, which I think is interesting, you know, because they're like, this is actually another country. You're not allowed to come into this other country if you have a record because it's another country, right? They don't have the same laws. It's not just like one state over or a part of the EU, you know, that got rid of the borders and stuff. You know what I mean. Canada. Oh, Canada, it's Canadian. Right? Yeah, I don't know. Again, we'll probably go up there at some point in time. We definitely got to take our baby up there and stuff. So we just have to figure that out. I'd love to go up Friday Fish Facts. Tropica has a new greenhouse up there. I'd like to go up and, film some of the stuff that they said I couldn't film. Right? Flynn's Fish Forum is up there. I don't want to forget any of my other Northern Canadian brothers and sisters. It's not on purpose if I did forget. It's not. Carrie Pitt says it works that way in both directions. Yes, it does. It does work that way in both directions because it's two different countries. And we got a super chat from Whoa Wine and Wet Sleeves. Says, how can I get brown or green algae off plants in predator tanks? I'm at war and I am losing. Well, brown and green algae on plants in predator tanks, I would bring the lights down. Typically speaking, if you have plants in predator tanks, you're normally going to have your Anubias, Bulbitis, that kind of stuff, those big, thick, long-term, those long-term, what's the word? Those long-term type leaves, those thick long-term leaves up there. So I would bring the light down a little bit. I would definitely bring that down. I would look into getting some Seachem. Seachem makes a product called Excel. If you don't know, it has a lot of glutaraldehyde in it, and it works out pretty well as far as the hair algae and stuff like that. I'm missing your question now. Brown or green algae off plants. Brown algae is actually really easy to get off. You're going to have to slow down your feeding a little bit, increase some water changes. That'll clear up whatever excess silicates and stuff that are creating a little bit of that brown algae. That'll be fine. That's an easy one. And then green algae, depending on what you got, you might get some glutaraldehyde, a little bit of algicide for the predator tanks, because typically the predator tanks are getting some algae, the combination of two things, excess nutrients, so you're going to need something to clean it up. Predator tanks means there's not a lot of things that you can do other than more water changes, better filtration, blah, 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 that kind of stuff, right? And continue to move along and go that route. Whew. Hopefully that answers that question. Not sure. The Who are still really good in concert? Yeah, I would endorse that, yes. If there was a lineup of the kind of old timers, I would probably put the Who, the Police. I'd put the Police on there. Prince died, so not much to do about that anymore. I'm glad I got to see him. Now I'm drawing a blank. I don't know. But I don't know. Hopefully that helps you out with your algae. But I would say just kind of tune the lights down, do a little increase in water changes, keep it a little cleaner, because it's normally that excess food that's allowing stuff to get in there. Jeff Rose is here. He says, hi. Well, now that Jeff Rose is here, it's time to get out of here. Did everybody hit that like button? Did everybody hit the Amazon affiliate page? Because I don't know. We're supposed to do that too, because if you guys go to Amazon before you go to Amazon, you need to know they are storing cookies in your computer. If you don't know what cookies are in your computer, it's basically how they track and know where you're going and where you've been. Now, before you go to Amazon and click the buy button, you need to go through somebody's affiliate portal. There's mine. I'm not saying you have to go through mine, but go through somebody's, because you probably accidentally clicked on something at some point in time, and some dirtbag out there with pop-up ads and stuff like that probably stored a cookie in your browser, and they're going to get credit for sending you over there, and then they're going to keep making that kind of nonsense. So that sucks. But where do I go? I go through the Smile program and things like that. Charities that I like, I always go through those affiliates before I go buy anything on Amazon. And I think you guys should too. Don't necessarily go through mine, but if you want to, you can. Just go through somebody's. Good Lord. That's my storefront that I just posted in there. Oh, and the chat's going so fast, I'll post it in again. There we go. That's my storefront there, where I have a bunch of recommended things that I've used, I've bought off of Amazon and stuff like that. Simon Shaw says, will it work in the UK? Yes, I have my international affiliate too. So I think Germany, UK, Spain, too. Let me check. Yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch of international companies that are into it. So you just want to make sure you go through that. Even if you are international, go through mine, because hopefully it'll erase. Hopefully it'll erase the whatever previous cookies you had in there. So if you accidentally clicked on something you didn't want to give money to. So, all right, we gotta lock down that baby, figure out what's going on back there, let the sitter go home, and I gotta pay her money and get out of here for the day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you did. If you did, do whatever stuff YouTube wants you to do, like and share and blah, 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 that kind of stuff. If you have continued questions and I didn't notice them in the chat or whatever, throw them below as a comment, and I will do my best to answer them in the coming videos, live streams, and all of the things that we got going on. I want to thank all of the super chatters of the day: Stephen Pope, Megan Ness, The Fish Tank Barn, Terrence Blanton, Carrie Pitt, and Woe Wine and Wet Sleeves. You guys, thank you so much. As I illustrated earlier, makes hours and hours and hours to make a video, and you make $2 off of it. So that's always good, right? Now, a big shout out to everybody on Patreon. We are currently up to some kind of ridiculous number. We're still shy of the 20,000 gallon aquarium. That is the long-term goal on there. You can go click and see that is our final goal. The final countdown. I don't think I would ever go see Europe. But a 20,000 gallon tank, and hopefully be able to drive around, hire some peeps, you know what I'm saying? Extra cameraman, blah, 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 sound guy, I don't know, editor, I don't know, those kinds of things. We'll see what's up. Everybody have a fantastic night out there. Kiss your mothers and spay and neuter your pets and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to go figure out if CJ hit the button again. Wherever CJ Black is, please disclose me the location of the button to end the show. Good Lord, button hiding nonsense. Later, guys.